Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, where we are back with part 4 of the streaming series, where we are trying to fix Manchester United ahead of next season, not by recruiting players and spending loads of money, but by working with the squad that we have currently got. So far, what we have done in streams is we have worked on Manchester United in the first phase, improving our build-up structure. What we done in the next stream was talk about how Manchester United could get better at progressing the ball. And in the third stream, what we did was talk about how Manchester United can score more goals in the final third. Our job today is to put it all together and construct a Manchester United idea, tactical philosophy that next season hopefully can see us cook and not finish 15th. Before we do any of that though, of course that is important, but what's more important is you guys. Get in the chat down below and let me know how you guys are doing and how you're feeling about life right now, how you're feeling about Manchester United, and also the Brian and Bumo news that we got yesterday. Also, two things whilst you're in the chat. First of all, we've had some issues this week with the video and audio syncing, so do let me know if that is a problem today. If it is, I apologize. The second thing that you need to do in the chat is take a look at the leaderboard. Now, I hope you guys can see that. As you are messaging away in the chat, you will see a little crown next to certain names. And basically what that is YouTube have put something together where we have a leaderboard tracking who the most active people are in the chat. So if you are the most active member of the chat in today's stream, you will go to number 1 in the leaderboards, and it will constantly be changing depending on who is more active, who is using the emojis more, who is sending more messages. Now, that doesn't mean you can spam, by the way. That won't be tolerated, but it's interesting to look at. Anyway, how are you guys? How are we feeling about United right now? What are we thinking? Is Mbumo finally going to sign? Is that offer going to be accepted? I would imagine so. I think I would say to them, accept it or jog on, basically. So I think Mbumo will be coming to the club. I think we will see that sort of confirmed in the next few days. Of course, tomorrow we have Manchester United's first game of preseason. Not the actual preseason tour in the US, but a sort of preseason game against Leeds for some reason. We've got that match tomorrow, which we will of course be covering on the channel. Hopefully a Cunha debut, hopefully a Leon debut. Should be good fun. Hopefully Manchester United win. And yeah, let's talk about Manchester United. I want to hear your thoughts. Feeling good making my new PC right now, and a Mbumo transfer could be almost done. Great stuff. Sounds like a good old day, although awful for me, because when it comes to setting up PCs and stuff like that, I don't have a clue. Leader gets a hug from Chad. Apparently so. AJ, what if someone spams? Oh, if someone spams, my friend, they're getting booted. They will be bonk out of here. They'll be treated like Rashford and that, where they're put on the side and not allowed in training with the rest of them. Buzzing for Saturday against Leeds. Hope we see something special. Yeah, of course, we've always got to manage expectations in the first game of preseason. It will initially be about getting, the fitness up of the players. But hopefully, as we approach game 3 and 4 of preseason, we can start to see something, start to see some ideas. And also, who knows, Amorim might do something crazy and play a player in a new position, which is going to shock all of us. So it is definitely something to look out for tomorrow. Mbumo has to be done now, which is good news. Yeah, I think it has to be, right? It has to be done. They can't reject this offer. If they do, move on and find a different target. How we act in the market after he is done will tell a lot. Maybe a double here we go with Sancho to Juventus. Still a lot to do. There is still a lot to do. Mbumo, great. Cunha, great. But let's kick some people out of the club. And let's still bring in some new signings. Do we need a goalkeeper? Maybe. Do we need a central midfielder? Possibly. Do we need a striker? Do we need a centre-back? Do we need a wing-back? We probably still need a lot before we are the finished article. We're not going to be the finished article this summer, though. So it's about what we prioritise. And this stream might just help us get there as we figure out what we want Manchester United to be next season. So it kind of actually ties in quite nicely. Get a goalkeeper. It's not a bad idea. Sesko rumours, AJ, thoughts on him. Really good talent, obviously. I think I first did a video on him probably like 2 or 3 years ago, because Manchester United were linked a few summers back. I was excited by the talent at the time, and I still am. I think he's a really good young player. I think he's raw still, though. He hasn't refined himself in the past 2 years in a way that you'd probably hope. So he's a little bit raw. Excellent ball striking. His finishing is quite phenomenal at times. But is that because he's got too much time? I don't know. I need to take a little bit of a closer look. It's certainly, though, it's an interesting link. It's a very, very interesting link. We still have a list of other strikers to go for, and some are either too expensive or just not good enough. you guys have probably picked this vibe up over the past few weeks. I don't get what's going on with the striker situation. I'm not going to try and figure it out. I think my preference, if the price is good, would be Ollie Watkins. I don't think we're going to get Osimhen. I don't think that's very likely. If it's my choice, it's Watkins at a good price. Is Watkins at a good price available? I don't know. After that, I'm unconvinced by the rest of them, to tell the truth. Who knows? Who knows? Alex, good morning, mate. How are you? Hope you're well. Yeah, by the way, guys, keep an eye on that leaderboard in the chat because it will let me know which of you lot is being the most active, which I think is cool to keep an eye on. I'm looking forward to see what we do with the goalkeeper versus Leeds. Not just who plays, but also will they play long or will they play out from the back? Well, that's, of course, what we discussed in the first stream because we looked at loads of stats in that stream. I haven't got it today, but we looked at loads of stats that Manchester United were losing the ball more than most teams playing in deep phases. We were regularly overturning the ball playing out from goal kicks. And as a result, we often also resorted to going long. And when we were going long, we were terrible. If you missed that stream, make sure to go back and watch it after this one. Because you guys hit the like goal in the last stream, they're completely free to watch now. So go back and check it out at some point. But what we sort of eventually settled on in terms of an idea was trying to use our goalkeeper a little bit more in build-up. Whether that be Onana, whether that be a new signing, whether that be one of the academy goalkeepers, I don't know. But this is sort of what we settled on in terms of structure in the first phase. So the idea was to get rid of that centre-back in midfield nonsense. We don't want to see that anymore. We want someone more comfortable. And in terms of the roles and the profiles of these players, what we sort of settled was that we would probably need a striker who can deal with long balls. He can be some form of target man. We wanted two inside forwards that could occasionally drop deeper but could also push further forward. But I think the real focus was on the central midfielders. One of them needs to be press resistant. And one of them is likely to be Bruno, whether that's left centre mid or right centre mid, I'm not too sure. But Bruno is likely to be one of the two in there. So I think next to Bruno, we need to try and find a press resistant midfielder. Now, he doesn't have to be elite. It doesn't have to be Frankie de Jong press resistance because that's hard to find in the market, particularly when we're broke, apparently. We do have players in the squad, someone like Kobbie Mainoo who could tick the boxes. And, of course, the other thing we need is versatility across that back line. Because if our left centre-back and right centre-back are splitting into almost full-back positions at times, not every player can do that. Harry Maguire, for example, probably couldn't play that role. So that's an idea of what we're going to need in the first phase, based on what we've been building on the channel for the past 2 weeks. What we went on to next was this. This is the middle phase. Because, again, we saw a lot of stats that United were very high in the league for possession last season, but we were also very high for the percentage of passes that were played backwards. And also we have that horrendous horseshoe of doom, don't we, where we can't progress the ball forward. What we, again, eventually settled on was something that looked like this. We were looking to give our wide centre-backs the licence to carry the ball forward and to progress the ball. We were looking for one of the central midfielders to drop deep, almost into a pivot role, where we were given them the task of keeping things fairly basic and sort of being a cycle point for the team in possession. And we were looking for the left forward, or it could be the right forward as well, to occasionally drop into midfield to give us that three-man midfield. Because one of the potential drawbacks of staying in a sort of very structured 3-4-3, lose my voice a little bit, is that we only have two central midfielders. So we liked the idea of trying to get an extra player in the middle while still having width from the wing-backs and, of course, support up front with the striker and the forward. Then, I'll get to the chat in a minute, guys. Then what we finally got to was the attack. Now, this was the stream last Friday, and it's arguably one of the most tricky ones to talk about in terms of structure, because I think when you get to the final third, it's actually so much about players expressing themselves. It's about individual quality, moments of brilliance in the final third. So structurally, it's a little bit difficult to talk about. But again, what we liked the idea of was the back three, of course, the left centre-back and right centre-back being given the licence to express themselves, to move forward. Once again, the left central midfielder was someone that we wanted to keep things fairly basic. Again, keep it ticking over. I think we also mentioned long passing, the ability to switch the play and spread the play to make us less predictable. I think we also did mention the need for this player to potentially be two-footed, I think was something that we spoke about as well. The right central midfielder was someone given the licence to roam a bit more, the inside forwards close to goal, and once again, the wing-backs providing the width. So these are the sort of things that we were looking at throughout the pitch. And I think the good thing is, as we worked our way through the pitch, it actually all added up quite nicely. The profiles that we wanted for each position didn't change too much. From the start, from goal kicks all the way to the final third, We wanted the wide centre-backs to be able to move forward with the ball. We wanted the wing-backs to be pretty advanced with their positioning. We wanted a press-resistant midfielder that could also pass, and, you know, that was continued throughout the pitch. We wanted the inside forwards to be able to drop deep or support the striker. But I think we've done a really good job of actually keeping it on theme throughout the team, which actually makes today's stream a lot easier. You know, actually making Manchester United's best starting 11 next season, because it's a debate that we always have sort of week to week throughout the season in our tactical previews. This is a chance to do it before the season starts, to sort of anticipate and get ahead of the game and figure out what we want. So that's what we're going to be doing. That is what we're going to be doing. But that's enough waffling for me. Let me quickly get to the chat. I think Ugarte will do well next season. I think preseason is going to be big for him. He was another one of those players who didn't get the luxury of preseason last summer. He didn't get that luxury, like so many of our players, right? The last 3 years we've had Yoro went on preseason but got injured. Højlund's been on preseason but been injured. Mount is one of the only ones who's actually had consecutive preseasons. So it'll be nice to actually get Mazraoui a preseason, Xerxes a preseason, De Ligt a preseason, Ugarte, Cunha and Mbumo. Nice. That was what I've been crying out for a long time, to actually give new players the chance to bed into the system, especially the fact that it is that new system. Also, by the way, guys, whilst you are in the chat and looking at that leaderboard, by the way, which I will keep mentioning because I'm really intrigued to see who the most active member is today, you will also notice at the top of the chat we have a link to the Discord server. So check that out. It's completely free to do. It's just a place for football fans, mainly United fans, to waffle about football. So check it out. Check it out. Is this with signings or right now? What I would say it's with trying to focus on what we've currently got. But if we find a position where we go, we've got nothing that can do that, we don't have a player who can play that role, then that makes it very clear to us what we need in the transfer market. Because I said right at the start of the stream, right, I was like, what do we actually need? You know, what do we actually need after Mbumo if he signs? Do we then need a striker, a central midfielder, a wing back? What is it next? Hopefully this process is going to help us find that answer. If we're looking for a press-resistant central midfielder that also has a great passing range, but we don't have that, then we probably need to dip into the market. If we're looking for a false nine but don't have one, we need to dip into the market. And then maybe we might do a part 5 of this little series where if we find holes in the team, I'll bring you guys some potential solutions and how they can fit in, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Chad, good morning to you, mate. How are you? Will we ever see United become great again in our lifetime? Yes. Depends what your class is great. I think we will. I think we will. If you guys are having trouble with the leaderboard, by the way, that's not a me thing. YouTube runs it. Maybe it's a little bit slow. Just bear with it and see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Just trying to catch up in the chat because I spent a lot of minutes talking there. Goals were the biggest problem last season. We didn't score enough to bring down the goal difference. What's the stat? I had a look last night, and I will definitely be bringing it up in a video soon. I can't remember the exact number, but I think it's Manchester United scored 44 goals in the Premier League last season, I think. And I believe Cunha and Mbumo scored 35. I'm sure that was the stat. So only 9 less than United in the Premier League last season, just from those two. You can see why we've signed them, right? I know it's cost a lot of money and taken a long time, but you can see why we've been doing it. You can see why we've been doing it. Anyway, time for me to stop waffling and time for you guys to do some waffling in the chat. Do we have players that can tick some of the boxes? Now, what I don't want you to do just yet is give me a starting 11. It's far too soon for that. Let's let the brains wake up a little bit first. We don't need a starting 11 just yet. Are there any positions here on the pitch which stand out to you as, yes, we absolutely have that, and this is the player that can do it? So again, to sort of quickly go through the roles, in the first phase, let me get the animation back up. In the first phase, this is what we were looking at. So keep that shape in mind. Do you see any players in the Manchester United squad which, yes, they need to be playing there? Like, is Cunha the perfect left forward for this system we've created? Let me know. Is there anyone that jumps out to you in this particular system? Yes, we need to go get them. For example, yes, they need to be in a starting 11. I'll allow you guys to include Mbumo today. We've done it the past few weeks. Hopefully he's finally going to sign. Mbumo in that right forward. Possibly. Possibly. Is he the perfect fit here? Do we have a left central midfielder for this role? Do we have the wide centre-backs to progress? Let me know sort of 3 or 4 players that are jumping out at you as, yeah, we've got that. We've got that. And hopefully that can build the core of the team, and then we can fill out the rest. Because realistically, Amorim's only been here 8 months. He hasn't really been backed properly just yet, I wouldn't say, in the market. So it's going to be difficult to have a perfect fit for 11 positions. That's going to be very, very tough. But if we can get 4, 5, maybe even 6, that does build a really nice foundation to then build the rest of the team. And just to quickly go back to the final third stuff, this is what we were looking for. And I mean, straight away, I'm seeing in chat, Cunha. Yeah, I have to agree. I think Cunha ticks pretty much every box. We've drawn every box, right, throughout the pitch, and I think Cunha has ticked it every time. So in the first phase, we were looking for someone who could be a physical presence near the striker, but also drop in and create overloads if we needed it. I think Cunha can do that. In fact, let me grab him. Where is he? Here he is. In the next phase, what we looked at was the idea of creating a 3-man midfield, like this. I think Cunha can do it. Now, I'm not 100% on it just yet, because at Wolves, he was the main character, right? We all know that. He was given the license to basically go wherever he wanted to pick up the ball and play his game. I did have one concern when we first signed him, and I believe I said it in the video where we announced him, and that was he loses the ball a lot. Not a criticism, but a reflection of the play style. He's an aggressive player, a player who is always trying to move the ball forward at every available opportunity. Is that quite right for dropping in here? Or is a player like that suddenly getting too many touches on the ball? Is that going to become a problem? Let me know what you think. I think then when we progress to the final third and we want him back up here in this system, yeah, I think he's absolutely right. So I think Cunha is one who slots into the team fairly nicely. I do just have that question mark here, depending on who the other 2 central midfielders would be in this part of the pitch. But I do think realistically, Cunha slots in quite nicely. I saw a comment from Steve, I believe. Hey, also, sorry, I missed a gifted membership from David. David, I do apologise. I'm so sorry. Guys, David gifted a membership in the chat. And you guys actually did spam love hearts, or Callum did, and I just missed them. Actually, a few of you did, so I apologise for not seeing that. David, thank you very much, as always, for the gifted membership, mate. I hope you're well, and I apologise for missing it. I do apologise. Big up AJ in the chat. Hey, thank you very much. Leave a like whilst you're here, mate. Now, the chat are lovely. They are legends. AJ, I am 21 right now, and I think my grandchildren will finally see United sign Bruno. They've got a chance. They've got a chance. Are you expecting progressive carries from Cunha in that space? Are you talking about when we're dropping here? If so, then do United need another progressor at left central midfield, passing and carrying? I think if Cunha is to drop into that role and be a sort of carrier, which I think he'll always naturally do, yes, he can pass, but he'll want to carry as well. I think what it means for the left central midfielder is that player is more of a passing player. I've said this before. If you have too many players close to each other that are all mavericks, all the main character, all want to do everything, I think it becomes a problem. I think what we actually kind of figured out in the last stream was that perhaps the player that finishes off this midfield collection, this central area collection, isn't necessarily someone who has to run the game, because we've got other people that can do it around them. So perhaps this is a bit more of a simpler passer. So, you know, if Cunha is going to be taking risks, Steve said it there, he likes his creative players to be allowed to lose the ball, and I completely get that. But I think you've got to partner it with someone who's going to be a little bit safer. So perhaps that's what we need in this particular role. And I think that works throughout the pitch as well, right? First phase keeping it, second phase keeping it, final third keeping it. Just someone to keep the ball. And realistically, that does make you start looking at Ugarte. You know, he's not an expressive player on the ball, but in terms of just keeping it, he's not bad. I'd like him to improve his rhythm setting and his tempo management, for example. But if we're looking for a fairly basic role on the ball here, someone to just keep it, that could work. Now, Chad's raised a good point there. Because normally, when we think of Bruno Fernandes, because he's going to play in this team, we think of a left-sided player. I have always said, I've done videos on it at the start of last season when he was struggling a little bit, get Bruno on the left side of the pitch. He is just better there. But is this a problem? Is this a problem with the two of them right there, right next to each other, getting in each other's space? Is it a problem, Or can there be enough flexibility that they work off of each other? I don't know. I personally think maybe you just shift Bruno over to the right-hand side. And he played this role towards the end of the season. I think he played 3 or 4 games consecutively on the right side of midfield position. Maybe you just get him over there. I don't know. And this is what I'm talking about with the balance. Because Cunha and Bruno, Steve said he wants his creators to be able to lose the ball. Those two are going to do it. And again, that's not me being critical. It's how they play. They take risks because they want to score goals. I think if you've got those two dropping into this phase, this guy needs to be able to keep the ball and look after it. He needs to be able to keep it. Do we need more? Does that player need to do more? Is just keeping it enough, or does there need to be a greater understanding of rhythm? Right, Casemiro is a good passer, but he's not a rhythm setter. Ugarte, if you just want ball retention, he's good. I've always praised him for just looking after the ball and just keeping it. But is he someone who can let the rhythm of the team flow properly? I'm not sure. That's where I'm a little bit concerned. Bruno will pass and Cunha is willing to carry. I think they'll be fine near each other. So Steve, would you keep Bruno over on the left still? Would you keep him over there? Or would you drift him to the right? If you have a safe passer in left central midfield, Cunha is your left forward in that diamond, then the left wing back and left centre back need to show some progressive passing. I completely agree. And in terms of going through this series, we've been focusing on United on the ball. And someone mentioned it in the chat earlier. Let me find them. If I can drag this player down. Luke Shaw, people won't like the name being thrown out, but he is good on the left side at progressing the ball. So is Lisandro Martinez. Progressive players down this side of the pitch, they do tick the boxes, and so does Lenny Yoro. The question is, who do you go for? Who do you go for? I don't know. If we're building the core of the team, the ones that are definitely in there, Yoro's definitely in the team somewhere, because I think he's one of our best players already, right? He's one of our best centre-backs. We need to figure out his best role, though. That's something I'd like to do today. Now, of course, throughout the actual season, over the course of 50-odd games, players will play different places. Bruno will go into the front three for a couple of games. He'll play on the left for a couple of games. He'll play on the right. Cunha will have a game or two where he's a false 9, some games on the left. Ahmad will play in the front three. He'll play at wing back. Of course, they'll change. But I think it's a fun exercise to try and figure out our best 11 on the ball. I think it's an interesting exercise. Maybe we can go through this series again, looking at defensively. The high press, the mid block, the low block. We could do that if you guys wanted to. Heaven's also an amazing shout. Yeah, of course. I can't believe I forgot him. Yeah, Heaven is a great shout for that position too. Again, if we go back to... Look at me looking around the screen trying to find it. The first phase where we're looking at our left centre-back. You can see where he is in that wide position. I think Heaven can do that. Shaw could do that because it is a left-back position. And I think, Lisandro Martinez could do it. Second phase, we were looking for this player to be given room, to be honest, to step forward. Again, those guys can do it. To be honest, in possession, we're sort of stacked on the left side of defence. We've got so many players that can do the job, which is a big change from where we once were. Who remembers the Ten Hag season? Which one was it? I think it was his last full season, where literally got an injury. And we sat here time after time in preview streams, just sitting there like, what do we do now? What do we do now? Because we've got no one else who can play this role. Suddenly, we've got about 700 of them. We've got Kukonki in the academy as well. We are so stacked on the left side of defence. It's a great problem to have. Hopefully, they're not going to block each other's development, but it is a good problem to have for Amorim. So many players that can do this job. Yeah, could Yoro move to the right? Possibly. Glad you like my system for build-up. Yeah, Corey, it's the exact same system that I kept going on about last season. I've done a couple of videos where I was like, please just play this system. I'm hoping, and I know you're hoping as well, hopefully we finally see it this season. Hopefully we see some hints of it in pre-season. It would be nice to see. Anyway, I'm going to take the left centre-backs out because I think we've got so much competition there that it's difficult to say, yes, he's the best. So in terms of building the core, I don't think we've got the player for it just yet. So what I do quickly want to focus on is Bruno, and what you guys feel is his best position. All of the Lukumi shouts. Yeah, I mean, Heaven, the signing of Heaven has changed the need for that. Heaven being, I think, better than what we expected. Anyway, we're going to do a poll on Bruno. And it's just going to be a simple poll. Left centre mid, right centre mid. Also, I think voting in that poll also affects the leaderboard. So if you do want to climb up the leaderboard for today, get involved in the poll. I can see the leaderboard. I'm not sure how accurate it is. We got a gifted member in the chat. Thank you so much, my friend. That will probably boost you. That will probably boost you on the leaderboard. If it doesn't, then YouTube needs to sort it out. Surely that is going to boost you. I think things are weighted differently. Yeah, mate, I think the leaderboard's not being nice to you. I think you should be pretty much top of that right now. So I'm very sorry about that. But thank you so much for the gifted membership. Very, very kind. Yeah, YouTube just doesn't like you. I'm not sure why you're not being boosted up the leaderboard, mate. Because you should be, and it's just not. I apologise for that. I'll try and get that sorted for the future. It's a new feature on YouTube, so perhaps it's just taken time to sort of work properly. Maybe that's the problem. On my screen, everyone is stuck at 75 XP. Yeah, like I said, it's literally brand new from YouTube. I didn't do it. They sent me the stuff and were like, here, have a leaderboard. Maybe it will update at some point. For me, it's also stuck on 75 XP, which shouldn't be the case, because if people are gifting memberships, they should be flying up. So I apologise for that. Hopefully it will be sorted at some point. Hopefully. Anyway, the poll. Let's have a look. Also, if you're voting in the poll, do you fancy leaving a like on the stream as well? Be quite nice of you. I gifted membership to climb the leaderboard. I'm so sorry about that, mate. In my mind, you're top of the leaderboard. Don't worry. 272 watching, only 51 live likes. I think we can change that. I think today we can easily push 100 likes because preseason is about to start. We've got Cunha. I think we're going to get Bruno. Maybe it's time to start being a little bit excited, especially, by the way, when we're talking about building a core of a team today, figuring out where we're good on the ball. What a start. There's so many conversations about the Manchester United team being terrible and needing 20 players to come in to fix it. That as your core is one heck of a start when you're trying to build a team. We do have questions over the balance and the synergies and how they work with each other, of course. We probably won't know the answer to that fully until they literally play together. But as a starting point, that's pretty phenomenal. Like, that's some serious quality, some serious quality. I think if we're talking, though, through the system's in a different phase, keep an eye on the right forward for a second here. Keep an eye on the right forward for just one moment in each phase of the pitch. And Bruno, right? Right, I think particularly this one. I'm not sure why that's so slow. I think Bruno. I think we can put him in a team. I'm going to allow it. Let's pretend he's signed, right? Let's pretend something's actually happened at this club for once and we brought him in. I think he ticks all the boxes once again. But I can't find him. Where is Bruno? He's around here somewhere, but I cannot see him anywhere. I literally made him earlier. Where is he? Where is he? Is he already on the screen? He's not. Okay, I'm going to have to change one. Let's quickly get Bruno in because, I don't know, it's surely going to be accepted now, right? By the way, how stupid are we going to look as United fans if after all this we don't end up with him? Like, we're going to feel like Muppets. Absolute Muppets. Oh, and Bruno player is not his name. I'm sure I made him. Anyway, if we're talking about that right 10 position, he comes in and he makes a lot of sense. Did I see a super chat? I did. Thank you very much for the super chat saying I think tempo setting will be done by the 3 centre-backs. I don't know if the middle one will do it. I don't know if the middle one will do it so much, but I certainly think those 2 wider centre-backs will be the 2 that are given the role of certainly progressing. Will they tempo manage? That's an interesting question, actually. I think they'll almost have to. How effective they are will depend on the individual, I would imagine. Because we know naturally in this shape that we do end up in these situations where we sort of go around like this. These 2 in particular, I guess they are going to affect the tempo. So actually, I think you're spot on. They are going to have to affect the tempo because they're the ones who, if they're seeing a lot of the ball, they're the ones who have the opportunity to, you know, suddenly speed it up a little bit with a pass into midfield. Obviously, that's going to be affected by the movement in front of them and how good that is, whether the passing lanes open up, etc. But yeah, I think you're right, actually. I think the wider centre-backs, definitely. The middle one, I'm not so sure. I get the feeling that he might just be given the ball to give it to someone else a little bit. I don't know if this player needs to be so prominent on the ball. Sorry, I'm just fighting off a sneeze right now. We're good. I think it's bad for you to stop sneezes, right? So these streams are going to be the end of me. But yes, thank you very much for the super chat once again. That's why I actually think Dalot will get more time at right centre back than Mazraoui. I think he might be as well. Because Ahmad might come into that right wing back position, which we'll discuss in a second. Yeah, I could see it. What would you guys say stands out next as, yes, that player ticks that box. Where would you go next? Starting the first phase, is there a player in a position here? Licher, yeah, I think for that left centre-back is someone that we're going to have to consider. But it might have to be Yoro early on because of fitness issues. Is there another player in another position that stands out as, yeah, they're going to be here? I'm a football hipster and a couch coach. So valid. Ahmad right wing back, says Corey. I mean, here the right wing back is high. Here the right wing back is high, particularly with Mbeumo going inside. There's a bit of room there. Yeah. Obviously, the only question we have, and we've had it since the Mbeumo links really, is just how the two of them are actually going to work effectively together. I can't actually see the right wing back because my mic's in the way. I got to if that doesn't tell you, sure, I don't know what does. I've got to tiptoe over my mic to see Ahmad. That's crazy. Yeah, the only question we have is how the two of them work and blend together. I think typically this player, if we look at what we were asking for in each phase, typically this player would probably be right-footed. So that would be a slight concern. I like the idea of left footers on the right because I think they let you back in the pitch. Are they going to give us enough going the other way? We're going to have to wait and see. I'm confident that they can because I think they can both dribble both ways. We discussed that in yesterday's video. So I think it will work out. I think it's just going to take a bit of time. But yeah, I think he can play this position. And again, if we're talking about Manchester United aren't good enough, the team's terrible, look at the first four players we've just put in there. Bruno Fernandes is, if he played in a better team, he'd be the face of the Premier League right now. Apart from maybe Salah. He's unbelievable. Cunha was one of the best players in the league last season. Mbeumo was one of the best players in the league last season. Ahmad's goal impact, his goal contributions per 90 were very impressive last season. That's a heck of a start. That's a very, very solid start to this team. Mbeumo is good with his right foot. Yeah, I think he actually started to add it as he went on last season. I think what he's starting to do, and I think this is really important for his style of play, when you've got such a deadly left foot, eventually people start to realise he's probably going to go on his left here. And unless you're Arjen Robben, that can become a problem because if you're so heavily to one side, you become predictable and stoppable. I think what Mbeumo started to do was use that to his favour because teams and defenders started to really heavily defend the left foot, which actually left him a bit more room to attack on the right. So I think he, therefore, is developing his right side. I think Ahmad can go down the outside. Someone made the comment the other day about right-footed cutback for a goal towards the end of the season. I can't remember which one it was, but yeah, that was something that was discussed the other day. So I think it works. Oh, we've got a couple more super chats. Thank you both very much for those. Aiden Heaven as the central centre-back who pushes into midfield. I think Heaven on the ball could do what, maybe not what we have asked for in this series from central centre-back, but I think he could do what Amorim asks for from the middle centre-back on the ball. The concern I have is more defensively. So I guess for today we can put him in there because today we're focusing purely on the ball. That's been the point of this series. But I think if we were to go and suddenly talk about the defensive side of things, I'd have a few more concerns. I don't know that he's a commanding centre-back at this moment in time. But yeah, I guess if we're talking in possession, he's absolutely an option. And I believe what game did he play there? He played a game. It was postseason in one of the friendlies. He did play that position. We've also got another super chat on a similar theme. Casemiro, central centre-back. We can use his passing range. Again, I would probably say on the ball, particularly in the system that we've created, by the way, where if you watch the central centre-back, it's all quite simple. Every time they have something in front of them, Casemiro could do it. On the ball, he could do it. maybe next stream we need to talk about defending, because again, defensively, that's where the questions start to come in a little bit. But on the ball, you're probably right. I think they're both excellent points. I really do. I think Heaven lacks that experience and isn't developed enough to be a central centre-back. Yeah, like I said, it's off the ball I have the concerns. It's off the ball. Do you think our left centre-back steps in midfield, Martinez or Heaven? I think they've got room to step forward. We spoke about this. Sometimes if you play with too many players in midfield, you sort of block their space. I think sometimes that's why pinning the opposition is quite useful. If you can pin the opposition back a little bit, that's when you create that space to step into. So yeah, I think not necessarily into midfield, but I do think they'll be given the license to kind of step out and express themselves like we saw Yoro doing towards the end of last season. Even if Mbeumo is predictable, they can't get near him. His reactions are too fast. He's got that brilliant sort of switch, and he's got that acceleration where he just gets the defender where he wants him and then he toasts them. Then he sort of burns past them, which is very, very effective. I just mean to be even better, to go to the next level. I'd like to see more of the right foot, but like I said, I think he's worked on that. And as you say, his left foot is pretty darn decent. I think Yoro would be better suited than Heaven as a central centre-back. I agree. I do agree. I think Yoro can play any of the three roles in centre-back. I think he's that good. I said it when we first signed him. Obviously, we were in a back four at the time under Ten Hag. And I spoke a lot about how you get a different Yoro depending on where you play him. If you play him right centre-back, you get one version of him. If you play him left centre-back, you get a different version of him because of how the pitch sort of kind of lines up in front of him. I think he can do both. And in this system, I think he can do all three. Especially if we get that central centre-back out of midfield. You don't need to go in there. You don't need to go in there. Anyway, in terms of building the foundation for the team, we've got 4 very solid players in the team straight away. Who are we looking at next? What are we looking at next in terms of a role, a player that we think can perform one of these roles? Is there something else which stands out to you? I would say in this phase here, if we're talking about a left central midfielder, what we were asking for was press resistance. Cobby would tick the box. The problem comes as you start to move here. Is he that player that you then want in this position? Or does he need to be given more freedom to go further forward, in which case he doesn't quite suit this role? Suddenly he'd be more of a right central midfielder and competition for Bruno, really. His Everton debut, to be fair, was from this position. He played as a solo pivot with... Was it Scott McTominay in midfield with him, I think? McTominay and Bruno, I want to say, and Cobby played as the deepest and had a very good game. Maybe. Could he do it in this phase? Again, maybe, but maybe he wants to be given that license to go a little bit further forward. Left wing back, obviously, it's probably going to be Dorgu next season, but personally, for squad building, I don't look at him and immediately think yes. In the system that we've created, we've actually got symmetrical wing backs the whole way up the pitch. You know, they're always playing a similar role to each other on the ball. So to say Dorgu is like Hamad in that sense wouldn't make a lot of sense, I don't think. So I don't think we've got the left wing back that automatically ticks the box on the ball. Not at the moment. Yeah, by the way, guys, if you could please not use all capital messages, that'd be very kind. And if you do use all capital messages, they will be deleted, unfortunately. So lowercase if you wouldn't mind, please and thank you. Funnily enough, Mbeumo did some stuff with Jeremy Lynch. Yeah, I saw that. Was it about the heel? Oh, yeah, you've put that in your message if I just read it. Yeah, the second that the heel of the defender touches the floor, that's when he times his burst forward. I'd love to find some match examples of that. That could make for a good video. By the way, we had 177 votes in that poll, which was 178. I'm going to let it keep going for now because it's very, very close. But thank you so much for getting involved, making the stream interactive. If you wouldn't mind also leaving a like, that'd be very kind. Very, very kind of you. Didn't Amorim use Casemiro as the central centre-back in his first game against Ipswich? You're asking me to think a long way back now. I don't think so. Johnny Evans played on the left. I think Mazraoui played on the right. And I'm going to guess it was De Ligt in the middle. But I don't actually know. I don't think it was Casemiro for that game, but I might be wrong. AJ Amorim used a winger in right wing back and a full back in left wing back at Sporting. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. I think it will happen next season. I think Dorgu will play this role. I just think if we're talking and being if we're trying to be creative, if we're trying to create our own system that we think could work, I just don't think the players we've got would necessarily tick this box. Again, look at where the left wing back is at goal kicks. That's not a left back position. Here, it's not a left back position. Here, it's not a left back position. Or maybe it's a different type of left back. Maybe it's a different type of left back we need for that position. You know, Diego Leon, for example. Oh, you were right. Steve reckons Casemiro came on for the last 20 minutes as the middle centre back. Oh, I completely forgot about that. Oh, by the way, guys, Chad has set you a new challenge. 150 likes. I think it's doable. I think it's very, very doable. Apologies if you just heard my phone vibrate. I think 150 likes are doable. So there's a challenge for you all. And also keep voting in the polls as well. At the moment, Bruno is top of the poll. Of course he is. It's a Bruno poll. At the moment, left centre mid is top of the poll, which is interesting in terms of the role that we've been speaking about. It put him in a position where he's got a lot of touches on the ball. I'll say this. In possession, we're talking about him. We're focusing on in possession. Forget defending. Who cares about defending? I do, but just for today's stream. Forget about defending for a second. We're purely focusing on Manchester United being better on the ball. Another day we'll do defensive stuff. If Bruno was the left centre mid, right? Cobby as the right centre mid makes a lot of sense all of a sudden. It feels so attacking, but it does actually make sense. If Bruno's the left centre mid in the system that we've created over the past 2 weeks. I'm just saying. The poll is literally 50-50 right now, by the way. And there's 199 people that voted. So if you have voted, could you please leave a like as well? I don't like to be a beggar, but it does help. And if you guys support the channel, which you've been amazing for recently, by the way, thank you so much. If you support the channel does better. It gets pushed to more people, which means I can upgrade and I can do more and I can try and make it better. Right? Recently, I've been trying to upgrade stuff with the background and things. If we keep growing, you know, the day we hit 70k, the day we hit 100k, think about the changes we could make then. Maybe we could finally have an editor for the channel or something like that. So, you know, something like a like does feel very small, but it's actually a big help. So you guys getting involved genuinely does a lot, which is why I always say this channel is about you guys. It's all about you guys. You guys carry this channel. I just sit and talk in front of a camera. It's all about yous. All about yous. Bruno can go deep, but he should go forward. Yeah, it's... I don't know. Sorry, Paul. I don't know if I agree with Bruno in that role. I guess the question is then, right, can we flip it? Can we ask our left central midfielder to do what we were asking of our right central midfielder and flip it over? How would that look? I think we start to get clashes, don't we? Let's just quickly... What one is it? This one. Where that left forward's dropping in, it makes sense because it's Cunha. It doesn't make so much sense for the right forward to do it because it's Mbumo. So I think it has to be the left forward dropping. If the left forward is dropping as Bruno's going up, did it clash? And I don't think we can swap the right centre mid and left centre mid because it just doesn't make sense. If you see what I'm saying. +1 sub. Hey, thank you very much. Welcome to the community. Sesko video when? I will keep an eye on what sort of rumours and talks we get. Bruno is like the heart of the team. He needs to roam. That's why I prefer him as the right central midfielder. Because here he is given that license to roam. And here he is, importantly. So that's why I prefer him on the right personally. Could really do with a left-footed left central midfielder. That's something that we've spoken about for so long now, isn't it, Alex? You've literally been here since the very first stream, by the way. How insane is that? Like, Alex was literally here for the first stream ever on this channel. And I think literally pretty much from then we've been talking about the need for more left-footers in the team. And we haven't really addressed it that much this summer. Of course, Mbumo is. We're getting there, though. We are slowly getting there. You know, Dorgu's come in. Left footer on the left, as opposed to, you know, Dallo previously. We're slowly getting there. A midfielder would be nice. I like left-footed central midfielders. I don't know why. I couldn't even actually put into words why. But I just like something about a left-footed central midfielder. I just enjoy watching them. Bruno doesn't make sense at the left central midfielder role. A 6 role for the most chances created in the league doesn't make sense. Yeah, I do see that. People saying Bruno left central midfield because we want him on the left side, in my opinion. But in no way should he ever be the deepest central midfielder. Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree. And it causes a bit of an imbalance. It does create a slight imbalance. Because surely you don't want Bruno left centre mid here. Surely you want him in that advanced position in a 10 where he can create, where he can do Bruno stuff. It's difficult. It's difficult. But if the poll is speaking, the poll is speaking. We'll come back to it, maybe. We'll come back to it. Basically, any other positions that stand out to you? Because we've still only got 4 players at the moment for the sort of the core of our team. We probably need to look at the back 3, right? Is there anyone that we feel absolutely ticks the boxes? So from the middle centre-back, we were looking for first phase, everything in front of them. So you sit here, it's nice and easy from the goal kicks because these guys are wider. Midfield is in the middle. In the next phase, we were looking for retention, but also switches of play. The long passing was something that we were looking for. And then as we moved to the final third, it was a slightly more positional thing in terms of ready to be aggressive in case we lose the ball. And De Ligt and Maguire, in a sense, tick a lot of boxes there because they are safe on the ball without being amazing in the first phase. But I think if they're alongside the goalkeeper, things are in front of them, I think it's okay. Maguire's got the long passing more than De Ligt, I would say, for the middle third. But for the final third, De Ligt's got more of the aggression off the ball to help us win it back. So it's a little bit tough. Bruno said one of the inside forward drops deep into the midfield. Yeah, if you look, that's exactly what we've got here. Just let Bruno run where he wants. That's the best position, the best option. Arguably. I'm putting Maguire at central centre-back for sure. The other option is we can start exploring the market. Not necessarily for this season, but maybe for next year. Both wing-backs don't progress at the same time. One side forwards, the other tucks into midfield. The defensive version of Trent Alexander-Arnold, if that makes sense. Maguire's distribution from central centre-back to left wing-back and left forward will be important. This is the problem I've got with the middle centre-back role. I think Yoro's the most suited to it. But the problem is, I don't think the others are adaptable enough. You know, if you put Yoro in the middle, Maguire can't go play right centre-back. He can't. He can't do it. De Ligt could, but you're not getting great ball progression. So it does sort of limit us to Maguire and De Ligt. I feel like they're the two that, if we're looking for great ball progression from the wide two, De Ligt and Maguire don't tick that box. So if they're going to find a way into the team, it's going to come in the middle. So is it then a straight battle between them? My problem with Maguire as the middle centre-back is his passing tempo. Whilst he's a good passer, he lacks tempo. Completely agree. The only thing I worry about for De Ligt is duels in the air. He was bad last season. I think the problem we've got with any of our centre-backs, if we're talking aerially, is we're comparing him to Maguire. Like, maybe the best in the world in the air. Certainly one of the best as a centre-back. So the bar is so high at this football club because of Maguire. That's the slight problem I got. Yoro would be the ideal, but then you make De Ligt and Maguire redundant. Yeah, and that's where squad building becomes confusing because Yoro realistically should be the project player because he's so much younger, but De Ligt is a new signing, so we can't just bun him off. What do you do with Maguire? He's probably one that will be replaced in the next couple of years. It's a little difficult. Next season, we will need to explore the market for a central centre-back. Yeah, we'll either need to, next summer, it will either be sign a central centre-back, I think, or David, I think it might be sign a wide centre-back and Yoro goes into the middle. It'll be one of those two. I think next season we'll be in the market for a top centre-back. Hopefully, right? We're in a good place as a club, then we can attract someone seriously gifted. It's why I like the idea of Mosquera, who's going to Arsenal. I think he would have been a very good option. We've hit 150 likes, by the way. Chad has just let me know. That is insane. Thank you guys so much for the support. Chad is now saying 200. You know, he's a bit pushy, this Chad guy, but I agree. Can we get to 200? What do we reckon? I think we could. Do you think we can see left centre-back Euro Dallo? Oh, sorry, I thought you meant either of those two at left centre-back. You mean someone left centre-back, Euro in the middle, Dallo on the right. Yeah, maybe next season. I think it won't happen this season, but just because I think Amorim will go for... I think Maguire or De Ligt will play. That's going to be fascinating to watch in pre-season, actually. Where does Euro play across the back three? That might be one of the biggest things we learn in the first couple of games. Not in terms of his performance level, that won't be too important. But actually just positionally, almost with a clean slate, where does Amorim put him? Where does he see him? That's going to be really interesting to look out for. This is why having a left central midfielder who shows for the ball early in build-up and progresses the ball is so crucial. 100%. 100. I think we need it so badly. Like that press resistance in the first phase. Bruno, I think, has improved a lot. His press resistance, I think he's got a lot better at it the past, honestly, under Ten Hag, actually, really, and continued last season. But he's still not an expert. He's still not a specialist. We need someone in the first phase who can really look after that ball. Take the ball under pressure and deal with it. I think Colby's going to get there. But does it work as a partnership? No Licha will mean Euro starts left centre-back. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair. Sesko or Watkins? Ooh, Watkins is the guaranteed success. Sesko's probably the highest ceiling in the long term. What are United in the place to be doing right now is the question. Out of possession Euros, the middle centre-back makes sense, but does it limit his in-possession game? I think it does, a little bit. But I think if you have three centre-backs who are good on the ball, then that's just great, right? So, yeah. A clue I saw in the training video was that a small box drill, they had Mazraoui, Yoro and Leon along the back line. Look out for that, guys. I would be surprised if Leon was to play in a deep position just because he's adventurous, shall we say. But it's possible. It's possible. He should try in pre-season at least one game. Heaven, Yoro, Dallo, 3 faster players. That would be quite a fun back three to watch. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. I've realised we're getting a little bit low on time. So it's time, right? We've got our 4. We've got the 4 that we think are definitely in the starting 11, and we've got the positions we think they play. Bruno, slightly undecided on which one it is. It's a tough one. Okay, it's a tough one. What I want you guys to do now in the chat is give me the rest of your 11, and if there is a position where you don't think we've got it, if you don't think we've got the midfielder we need, or the goalkeeper we need, or the centre-back we need, or the striker, whatever, just put striker. Because that will let me know what you guys think we need. Did that make sense? I think so. And then in the future, I can try and find some targets that might fit the criteria. And then we actually know what we still need in this window after Mbeumo comes in. So, yeah, let me know now your finished 11 for Manchester United this season. And just leave any gaps that you want to leave, and we'll try and fill them in the future. Or hopefully United will with signings, right? That would be nice. Right now, I'll take Watkins. He's a proven Premier League striker. I think Watkins would be a very good signing in terms of the way he would fit this team. I think it would be very, very nice. He's been my favourite striker link of the summer. The age and the price is a problem. The age is only a problem if the price is high. If the price is low, the age is fine. See what I'm saying? You know, if it's 60 mil for a 30-year-old or 29-year-old, problem. 30 mil, lovely. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know exactly what it's going to be. Can you do a poll for every position, maybe next live stream? Yeah, I mean, if you guys are enjoying this series, which you seem to be, because it's really provoking a lot of good conversations and debates, we can carry it on and we can find different layers that we can add to it. Like I said, we can find some transfer targets that I think can play these roles. We can look at things defensively. We can look at transitions, for example. We can look at game states. Are we 1-0 down? What's best for us? Are we 2-0 up? What's best for us? Is it 0-0 with 20 to go against City? What's best for us? We can do all of that if that's what you guys want. Some of the streams might be slightly repetitive, going over some of the same points again. But what else have we got to talk about until the season starts, you know? So why not? Oh, we've also got David with the super chat going for an early score prediction. That's true, by the way. We've got a match tomorrow and we haven't done any sort of preview for it. Weird. David, thank you very much. He says 6-0 versus Leeds. Rasmus with the hat-trick. 6-0. What's my score prediction? I'm going to go Preseason's weird, innit? I'm going to go 3-1 United. I'm going to go 3-1 United. 20 and Garnacho for Watkins. Oh, it's a lot, though, isn't it? Because I think Garnacho, even though as a club we've done everything possible to get his value down, he's still very valuable. As what he is as a player, his age, the amount of games he's played, the goals he's scored, the assists he's got, we should be selling him. Look at the market recently. We should be selling Garnacho for 60 million. If you look at what he's done in his career compared to someone like Madueke, and Garnacho's done it at a younger age, he should be minimum costing the same. The problem is we have just driven that price right down by saying, Garnacho, we hate you, go away, please. Teams have gone, we can probably get him cheaper. So Garnacho plus 20 feels very expensive. Feels very expensive. 7-0, have that Leeds go back to your league. I mean, yes, please. Højlund better not go full Pereira and gaslight us in preseason. The preseason Pirlo. What a boy. Anyway, let's look at somebody's starting 11s. All right, there's a lot to go through here. Licha, Delit, Yoro, Dorgu, central midfielder. Bruno, Ahmad, Cunha, Xerxes, and Boomer. I like it. Goalkeeper, Lisandro Martinez, Delit, Yoro. Centre mid, slash Ugarte, Dorgu, what we've already got, and a striker. Goalkeeper. No one has named a goalkeeper yet. Everyone's going, just not Onana, please. Which is understandable. Goalkeeper, Licha, Delit, Yoro, Leon. Mainu, Bruno. I swear, right, I would love us to find a way to get Kobe in this team. I don't know the way that you do it. I don't know. Kobe needs to be on that plane to the World Cup next year because he is too good to not be playing regular football. Find a way to make it work, Ruben Amorim. Find a way, please. Please. We spent 5 years looking for his profile. We created it ourselves in the academy and have now gone, don't fit in right now. Apparently he's impressing in preseason, in the training. I hope we find a way for him. He doesn't have to start every game. He's still young, but find a way for him to be a big squad player. Onana, Yoro, Maguire, Licha. Also, you said Onana. Respect. Onana, Yoro, Maguire, Licha, Kobe, Bruno, Dorgu, Ahmad, Cunha, and Bumo. Tapping Merchant, Højlund. Goalkeeper, Licha, Maguire, Yoro, Dorgu, Ahmad. Okay, so these teams are looking fairly similar to each other, which is good. That means we're sort of thinking on a similar path. I'm seeing Licha in a lot of these. So I'm going to put him in. I'm going to leave it as a blank goalkeeper for now. Who's the most common middle centre-back you guys are seeing in chat? You know what? Let's go. Central centre-back. Let's do a poll. This is not who is the better player, by the way. This is not who do you prefer more. Whose hair do you like? Nothing like that. It's who do you think suits the middle centre-back position. And remember, even if you don't vote for them for this position, they could go somewhere else. So you may not think Yoro is best for the middle centre-back, but he could still go to the right. So don't let that sway you. You know, you haven't just got to find a way to get Yoro in the team. There's other positions he can play. So just keep that in mind. But you might still think he's best for the role, and that's fine. I think he's in everyone's team. It's just about what position, I think, is the question. I think Dorgu also, realistically, is in most teams. I do wonder if Dalot will get some more game time on the left side again next season, just for the sake of being a more experienced option than what we've got in other places. Where is Dalot? Here he is. He's just got number 2. We can't put him on the left. Wait, it's not Dalot, it's Dorgu. That's okay. I'm waffling. Dorgu. But I do think Dalot might get some game time. Yeah, that's my bad. That's my bad. Just looking at the team. What do we need? We need a goalkeeper in an ideal world. I don't think we're going to get one, personally. If I was a betting man, I would suggest I don't think we'll get a goalkeeper. But I understand wanting one. Completely reasonable. Left side's looking good, by the way. Just need a central midfielder. Striker, I think, is something that we still feel we might need to replace. Right side is looking good, apart from the outside centre-back. But we probably have the solution within the squad. It's just deciding who that is. Yoro is the future central centre-back, but right now he should be playing everywhere. Yeah, I like that. AJ Delict is too safe. I don't want that. I want risk-taking players. Anyone can play safe. Yeah, it's just that blend of not having too many adventurous players, but I do get what you're saying, absolutely. What's your analysis on a midfield of Bruno and Kobe? I've actually started doing some research for that, looking at Kobe's early games at United, his first few. And I'm not going to say anything just yet, because There's a chance we see it in a preseason game. Let's say tomorrow we see Kobbie and Bruno paired up in midfield. Monday we're there with the video talking about it and how I think it can work. I'm not going to talk about it just yet because I think if I release that video, everyone would look at it and go, they can't play together. So I'm just going to wait to see. So I'm just sort of holding off on that one, but keep an eye out for it. Keep an eye out for it. For once, I'm going to try and get the timing right of a video. Who knows if that will happen. So what are we looking for right now? Figuring out who the centre-backs are. That's the situation, isn't it? De Ligt's winning the poll at the moment. Yoro's actually bottom. Okay. And we're going to go with the poll. We're going to go with the poll. I don't actually know what my answer would be right now. Obviously, we're going to need to see some of the tweaks that Amorim imposes in preseason to really know what we're dealing with here. But you guys have gone for De Ligt, and I think it's reasonable. Maguire would probably still be slightly ahead in my pecking order, I think. But I get it. I guess, therefore, you guys are going Yoro right centre-back, I would assume, because Yoro is in pretty much every team I've seen in the chat. I'm just trying to think how that works. Does it work? Could Yoro play right back in the first phase on goal kicks? He could. Can Yoro progress from here? Yep. On the ball, it works. Defensively, we'll deal with it another day. On the ball, this works. I'd like a bit more from De Ligt in an ideal world, but I'm not sure that we're going to get it. So, is this what we're left with? Is this what we're left with? And, you know, we find ourselves in a position where still, in an ideal world, we need a goalkeeper. Not sure if it's going to happen. We want a striker, but we need a central midfielder. We need a central midfielder. The question is, priority order. Get in a chat down below. 1, 2, 3. 1 is what we need the most. 2 is what we need the second most. 3 is what we need the least of the 3 positions. Striker, left central midfielder, goalkeeper. What do we need the most? What would you prioritise? Here's some money. You've just signed Mbeumo and Cunha. Who are you going after next? If you could only make one more signing, let's say, what one would you go for? Let me know. Mazraoui is our best right centre-back. Also definitely an option. The only concern I have with pushing Yoro to the right is how it affects our squad depth, in the sense that we've then got Dalot and Mazraoui. What position are they battling for? Is Dalot then a backup right wing-back and Mazraoui's the backup right centre-back? It'd also be interesting to figure out the average age of this squad compared to some of the teams in the league last season. And also, you know, have we got enough leadership on the pitch and things like that? That'd be interesting to look at. So, yeah, give me your 1, 2, 3. So 1, Bosch. 2, Bosch. 3, Bosch. Let me know your order. What are you prioritising for this summer? For the rest of this summer, I should say. They should sign me. Where'd you play, mate? And are you left footed? Literally left centre-back in possession is great, but off the ball, covering space is a worry. I completely agree, especially after another injury. Yep, completely agree. We probably do need a stream covering the defensive side. I'm trying to fight off a sneeze right now. I think we're good. Garnacho swap deal for Watkins and Onana, and we are good to move. I think we would do very well to achieve that. Dalot is probably the backup for both wing-backs and comes on every time we are winning. Yeah, and honestly, maybe as an outside centre-back depth as well. And I dare say, thinking about Amorim and what I think of him as a manager, I would imagine if we were away at Anfield this weekend, I think you'd find Dalot right wing-back and Mbeumo right 10 with Ahmad out of that 11. Would be my guess. I don't know. There's a lot of disagreement going on in the chat here, which I guess is what we naturally expect. I'd love a goalkeeper, but if Vitex is showing good form in pre-season, then let him be our number 2. Yeah. Champions League and Europa League because of Onana, get a goalkeeper in first. Left central midfielder Anton Stack can play middle centre-back as well. It's not a bad shout. It's not a bad shout. So what I need to do is find some options for these positions. Goalkeeper is pretty obvious in terms of what we need. Left central midfielder, if we're focusing on in possession for now, we want that first phase specialist, don't we? We want someone press resistant. And then in the next phase, we want a sort of simple passer. So protects the ball very well first phase, looks after it second phase. Almost like like a Zubamendi almost, in terms of what we're looking for on the ball. Or like a Jorginho, like that sort of profile. I'm not saying sign them, obviously, but that sort of profile. And the striker, I'm personally still of the impression that someone that can stretch the defence. Højlund stylistically ticks so many of the boxes of what we want from a striker. If you quickly go through this, every single phase, right? Imagine here, the striker's Højlund, he's got Mbumo and Cunha near him, physicality to go long to, second ball ability. Here, left channel, Højlund makes sense, and then occupying the box in the final third, not getting involved in link up. Højlund makes so much sense. It's just, is he going to develop or not? You know, he didn't develop enough last season. He went backwards. He's the right profile. Is he the right bloke? You know, is he the right quality? Question marks. I still think there's a player there. I still think he can be. Is that going to happen at United? I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys think, by the way? For Xerxes, we're talking about a stretching striker. Xerxes is not going to be that, so he has to go somewhere else. What do we think of Xerxes for that left 10 position next season? The backup left 10. He does like to drop away from the front line. This is probably a bit too far for him, but we could tweak it. Gets him into shooting positions on his right foot. Might make sense. But then are we blocking Mount? Because Mount would also play that. Mount, by the way. Mount for that left 10 position, squad depth, especially when doing this. Mount would be really useful for that position. Really, really useful. Kobe could also do it very effectively. Is our left side of the pitch just stacked with so many players? Like left centre-back, we thought of 4 or 5 players that can play there. Left wing-back, we've got about 17 of them. Probably none of them quite starters at the moment, but there's 34 of them at the club. Left 10s, we've got Cunha, Xerxes, Mount, Kobe. The left side he's got a lot of players. Got a lot of players. Zubamendi disaster class loading at Old Trafford? Yes, please. Højlund on paper is perfect as the backup. We should get a ready 9 now. And David said Watkins would be perfect if we can get him on a decent fee. I think he would. That's why I like the Watkins idea so much. So I don't think he blocks the others. Xerxes can just play a different position. Højlund can be the backup to Watkins. I would like it. I would like it. I'd like to see Xerxes and Mbumo Cunha striker sometime. I also quite like the idea of just at some point, for the sake of getting my favourite player in the team. Sorry. Could we go Cunha into the 10, Bruno in here, and where is he? Where is he? Colby in midfield. Could we do that just for a game or two? Play about a proper striker at some point, just for a couple of games. Just for a couple of games. I want Colby in the team, if you couldn't tell. But he's probably not going to be in our starting 11. Would that work? Could you go Colby and Bruno? Is it far too attacking? I'm not sure. It might be too attacking. I think it's too attacking. I think it's definitely too attacking. But it might be a way it can work. Amorim might go for something crazy next season where he's suddenly this super aggressive manager who goes after every team. We don't know. We don't know. I don't think he blocks anyone. Yeah, I think that's why I think Watkins would just be lovely. Price is the real question. But yeah. We have poor squad balance. We normally have one side that's really good and another that isn't as good. Yeah, but in saying that, you know, if we went to the right side, right 10, you've got Mbumo and Ahmad who could both do it. Mount could do it. Right wing back, Ahmad, Mazraoui, Dallo. Obviously, you're changing profiles at that point, but I think even Dorgu could play on the right. We are starting to build a bit of squad depth, particularly when you consider the fact that we're not going to play that many games next season. We've got a bit of depth there. We've got a bit of depth there. In terms of maybe the exact fit isn't ideal, but actually just numbers of he could do a job there. We've got quite a lot of them. Next summer, the job is going to be, okay, we've got depth now. Now we need some specialists sprinkled in. We've done it a little bit this year with Cunha and Mbumo. You know, next year we want a specialist left wing back perhaps, or striker, etc. Villa have PSR issues. Villa are also a team who have, you know, explored some funky deals, should we say, over the past couple of years, right? There's some with Juventus which were questionable. So they don't mind trying something to get out of a situation. Can you get Watkins? Can you get Onana? We do have Garnacho that we can play with in that situation as well. Pause. Garnacho wants to go to a Prem team. Villa want Garnacho. Villa need to do something financially. Is there something we can work? Watkins on a cut price? Because it'd be pure profit for them for Watkins, I'm pretty sure, unless I'm wrong. We'd also be getting pure profit in selling Garnacho. Maybe there's something there. I don't know. Genuinely believe this will be Xerxes' season. I think just getting him near players who are good, and we're signing good players this summer. I think, yeah, just getting him near those bodies, near the Brunos, near the Cobbies, near the Cunhas, near the Amads if possible. Yeah, I think you'll see him go to a different level. And once he's settled in, again, give him a preseason. Lovely. Leon is our number 30. Is that now confirmed? Lovely stuff. AJ, at what point do our striker targets get worse than Chido Obi himself? From Gyökeres to Calvert-Lewin to Jackson? I will just say, from my point of view, Jackson isn't as bad as what everyone thinks, but I don't want him. You know, he's become an overhated player and like a memed player because he's not great at shooting. Xerxes is not great at shooting and everyone loves him right now. Like, Jackson isn't as bad as everyone thinks, but I don't want him. Let's make that clear. I don't want him. I think I honestly think we've covered everything. I honestly think we have covered everything that we needed to cover today. We've gone through the team, and we now know the positions we need, which are pretty similar to what we believed anyway. But that's good. That's good. That means we were right with our initial assumptions. We've figured out actually just how nicely Cunha is going to fit in his team, and it looks bloody lovely. I think Mbeumo is going to fit this team very nicely. We just need the striker to complement them. That can be Xerxes sometimes. It can be Højlund sometimes. Probably prefer someone else. Amad, there's potentially an initial issue with Mbeumo. It's going to take time, but we think it will get there. We've got a lot of centre-backs. Next summer, we'll need a new one just to sort of get a specialist in that middle role. But apart from that, we're in a good place for this season. You know, if you think this season, we're probably aiming top 8 with the ability to go higher. We don't need the deepest squad in the world because we're not in Europe. I think what we've actually found out doing this is that the squad isn't as bad as you think. Today, we laid a foundation of 4 players that definitely get in the team, and we said Bruno Fernandes, Amad, Cunha, and Mbeumo. Serious quality. Serious Champions League quality players. They're good. We got Yoro, he's good. We got Cobby, he's good. We got good footballers at the club. We just need to find a way of mashing them all together, and I think we are starting to do that. One thing I want to hear from you guys before we wrap up the stream is, would you like a part 5 of this streaming series, which would be on Tuesday? And if so, what would you like it to be? Is it signings? Is it suggestions from me to fill the holes that we've discussed today? Is it looking at defenders? What is the next part of this series? Or do you not want another part? Do you want something different? Let me know in the chat. And also, let me know in the Discord as well. If you've got any video ideas you'd like to see, stream ideas, channel improvements, plenty of them about, join the Discord server and let me know. Or just join the Discord server for the sake of it, because there's a lot of very friendly people just waffling about Manchester United and football. It's a fun place to be. It's a good environment. Chill compared to parts of the internet, we say. You know, our little corner of the internet is very chill, it's very calm, and it's good fun. So I would recommend joining the Discord. It's completely free. There's a link at the top of the chat. So if you are interested, get involved. But I think for today's stream, there's nothing else to talk about. I don't know if we're going to have a video out today. The only way we will, actually, is if Mbeumo signs today. Because I need to work on that video. If he signs today, Bosch will have it today. If he signed another day, we'll save it for them. You guys want more of this stream. Nice, cool. I know what I need to do moving forward. And hopefully we do now with regards to Manchester United. But like I said, today, nothing left to talk about. Nothing left to talk about. So thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you for the gifted memberships and the super chats that we had. That is very, very kind. Shout out to everyone that has left a like and has also been waffling along in the stream. The leaderboard has David at the top currently. I'm just looking through. I don't know if the leaderboard is entirely accurate. Yeah, I don't think it is. Hopefully YouTube will sort of iron out some of the issues there, and that will improve for future streams. So hopefully that will be sorted soon. But no promises, because I actually physically can't control it. But thank you regardless for being so active. It's been a very, very good chat today. I mean, I say today, it always is. Shout out you guys. Is that everything? Is that all the outro done? Like, subscribe, notifications, you know, that usual YouTube waffle. I think that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you for videos tomorrow.